salam, walaikum salam, walaikum salam. Some straight love there. We appreciate that. Cool. All right, boom. I got my location, inshallah. So I'm gonna park up right over here. Want to give you guys who are stuck indoors a little bit of an outside feel to this, man. So let you know that the sun is still shining. Allah's mercy is still raining down on all of us, man. And alhamdulillah, we appreciate it, mashallah. We're gonna get straight to it, man, because we're already about 6 minutes in and let everybody kind of filter in. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wassalam ala rasulillah. In the name of Allah we begin. All praise belongs to him. May the peace and blessings of Allah be on his messenger, Muhammad ibn Abdullah. We're here outside of the Canisius College Buffalo campus for no particular reason other than the fact that the location is right. Alhamdulillah, the sun is shining, like I said, and the background is kind of serene. MashaAllah, appreciate that. Definitely. Man, but we're going to get into it, man. Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen. You guys know what it's about, man. We do this every Monday, every Wednesday. We call it the Deen Battery Booster Program. Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen. Glad you wasn't 6 feet between me and that sentence right there, because it would have been over. It would have been over. All of that extra that came out, it would have been over. Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen, for the technology. But alhamdulillah, without further ado, man, alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen, man. I want to welcome one of the brothers, man, inshallah, man, who knows a lot about this topic. And you know what the topic is, guys. Over in Rochester, over in Buffalo, mashallah, anywhere in between. We've been talking for the last 3 episodes about Islam and music, or Islam versus music. And this is the final installment in this 3 episode series, alhamdulillah. Without further ado, brother Mustafa Abdul Basit, mashallah, with us, alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen. How do you feel, Allah?
Alhamdulillah, hanging in there, man.
It took a lot to pin you down, mashallah, but we finally got it, mashallah, alhamdulillah. We finally got you pinned down, alhamdulillah, and want to get ready to get into some of this amazing material, mashallah. Not just your own personal material, but just the topic itself, man. Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen. Let me prop this up here. I think I could prop that up there and still get me some. Yeah, I like that. That's cool. Little shout out to Imam Fajri, putting the neighbor back in the hood, mashallah. That's the Masjid Nu'man in Buffalo, New York. I don't know if you can see that. There we go. Masjid Nu'man, Buffalo, New York. It's a little backwards, but alhamdulillah. So whenever I get an opportunity to represent for the Muslims, definitely always want to represent for the Muslims. Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen. So, mashallah, brother Mustafa, alhamdulillah, our brother MAB_hip-hawk, HAQ on the gram. Like I said, you've been doing this for a while, man. Give us a little bit about your background, man. Where you from? What city you from, man? And what inspired you, man, growing up?
Yeah, mashallah, alhamdulillah. From South Carolina, born and raised South Carolina. And, like most Afro-American people raised in America, you know what I'm saying? We grew up kind of just into poetry and hip-hop. It's just a part of the culture that comes along with being born over here in America, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So that was like, we learned a lot coming up from hip-hop, especially with like how to articulate and also, how to express like yourself, through words, you know what I'm saying? So it's, I've been doing this like forever, like writing and doing spoken word and making songs and all this stuff, man, since maybe I was like 12 years old.
Okay.
It's been a long time.
Mashallah, man. So, what we do notice is that there's a sharp difference though in the attempts to be positive, the attempts to deliver a positive message. Is a sharp difference in the experience that person has versus somebody who kind of almost, you could say, sells their soul. Somebody who sells their soul. There's a sharp difference between the person who wants to try to go positive and a person who's willing to sell their soul. I mean, what have your experiences been in that regard?
Yeah, it's with me, I kind of kept things independent, but
okay,
those circles, those dark circles inside the music industry exists. You know what I'm saying?
Right. That's an interesting way to put it.
Yeah. Those dark circles. I ran into some shady people who tried to, you know what I'm saying, offer me some crazy stuff, but it's like, you know, alhamdulillah for Islam, you know, Islam already explained a lot of stuff in the Prophet ﷺ and his Sunnah, just things to avoid and stay away from. But that stuff really does exist. It's no conspiracy theory or nothing like that. People really will trade the life of this world for the hereafter. They would really trade themselves for that. That circle really do exist. I know that's hot. There ain't nobody. That's no conspiracy theory. That's no nothing. That's what I know personally.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Which led me to just making my own stuff, like just not trying to be like in the industry or whatever. I make stuff about the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, about Islam, positive stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I put it out. If you like it, you like it. If you don't like it, you don't like it. But I'm not really trying to, you know, be like into the mainstream, like doing whatever everybody else doing for fame and stuff like that.
Right. And that's what I think, you know, is a big issue. Like, you know, the fact that some of the people who come up, and they put on this facade, like we said, we were talking about this at the end of our last episode, that Allah mentions that in the Quran, wala to the Jews specifically, but it's interesting because it ties into the music artistry, that do not la talbisul haqq bil batil wa taktumul haqq wa antum ta'lamun. You know, don't cover up the truth with falsehood and hide the truth while you know better. You know, that's something that we see when artists, you know, who have the understanding of a rough upbringing, of the darker side, they give this persona, like, you know, it's all about the party life. It's all about that lifestyle. You know what I mean? Talk about what you experienced. You said you've seen it yourself.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, once you start like once you start having like influence and like you're taking off, you're someone with talent, whether that be sports, music, acting, or whatever. In my case, hip hop. Once you show talent and it show like people are interested in your work,
right?
You're going to be approached by some people.
Oh, okay.
They're gonna offer you the chance to like make your stuff go further.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Subhanallah al-Azim.
And what you'll find out is that there is a group of people who control the keys of how far you can go.
Subhanallah.
And if you choose not to work with them, they'll just blackball you. They'll make sure that your stuff don't get on the radio. They'll make sure none of the major labels deal with you, so your stuff won't get played. Your videos won't show, no nothing. So
okay.
They kind of force you, strong arm you in a situation where you kind of got to get down with them. And just let go of any dream of you being successful. You know what I'm saying?
Do you think that's what happened to, like, you know, artists? I mean, it's hard for you to tell. You say you yourself, you experienced it. You know, like I said, the difficulty of trying to stay positive in a world where they want to put forth another image, a negative image. This is the biggest.
Oh yeah. It's an agenda. It's a whole agenda that they're pushing. You know what I'm saying?
Tell us what you yourself experienced, though. Tell me what you experienced. Were you back into a corner? Was you know what I mean? Was it
It's deep, man. It's deep.
Talk to us, man. Let this memory live on, man. So others would know.
You know, I come to find out that the people were. It's just the people are dark, man. They're into they're into like black magic and stuff like this.
Okay.
They're dealing with the jinn and shayateen and stuff like this.
You're talking about in the industry.
In the industry.
Wow.
And it's like it's bad. It's dark. You know what I'm saying? And
okay.
it's bad. Some people will just like some people will get inside. They'll get inside. They'll take what's offered, and then they'll figure out later that it wasn't really worth it, or nothing like that. You know what I'm saying?
So
Alhamdulillah, I knew about this stuff before any of that stuff. So I was just like, nah. And
okay.
like, the people that I was around there, man, they was like, yo, if you want, you can be this, you can be that, you can be this, you can be that. I was just like, nah.
So for the young brothers and young sisters who are joining us, I know we have a couple from Rochester at least, and maybe some adults. But for we normally reach out every Monday and Wednesdays to the tween group that we work with, the youth, mashallah. So we already were talking about Islam and music, or Islam versus music. So we took the approach of just let's look at it from a wholesome standpoint. We're not talking about technicalities with regards to instrumentation or anything like that, or we're just talking about it from a wholesome point of view. Number one, let me back up a little bit. Just a recap for those who missed the first 2 episodes a week ago. We said that it's very clear that human beings love good sounds, love sweet sounds. That's a fact. Every culture has a musical element in it. Even the Prophet ﷺ used the word for singing, ghina, in the hadith where he said, "Laysa minna man lam yataghanna bil Quran." He is not from us who does not employ a singing element when he recites the Quran. So we got that part. We got that. We understand people have sweet sounds. What our brother is saying to us is that sometimes people will use that bait, use the fact that people love that to lure them into a negative lifestyle. Like you know what I'm saying? It's almost as if like the game uses the weaknesses of the people against them. You understand what I'm saying?
It's like I tell the people when I talk to them, sometimes a knife can be used to stab someone, or it can be used to put butter on bread.
You got that.
It has the ability to inspire people to do evil things, and it has the ability to inspire people to do negative things.
Right.
I tell you this personally, just from my personal experience, it's like I've met imams who have told me their conversion to Islam was hearing Allah's name on a Public Enemy album. You know what I'm saying? I've met white Muslims from London who told me, say, they became Muslim off hearing Wu-Tang Clan mention the name of Allah on their album. You know what I'm saying? So Allah can use any means he wants to bring people. You know what I'm saying? But music can have a negative effect. It can have a positive effect. It just depends. You know?
Right. Definitely, absolutely. So I'm glad you mentioned that, because what we want to talk about as well is again this element of Islam. This week we want to talk about, for those who don't know, Islam has been used over the years in urban music a lot. Like I said, I told our listeners last week that I could speak authoritatively about American music and specifically urban music, because again, that's what my experience is. And like I said, let me ask you a question. Why do you think that there's such an affinity or closeness, or I don't know if you want to call it respect, for Islam in urban music? I mean, and anybody who's listening, go ahead and shit. Hold on real quick. Anybody who's listening, if you know of anything where you've heard Islam mentioned in a rhyme, in a lyric, send that to us, because again, maybe our examples are, he mentioned Public Enemy. You probably have no idea what he's talking about if he says Public Enemy for the younger listeners. But if you know of any examples where Islam has been mentioned, negative or positive, share it in the comment box. But why do you think that is, Ak?
Because with hip hop, with the art form of hip hop, it started off educating people with knowledge. You know what I'm saying? It was a knowledgeable thing, and the only thing with clear knowledge for anybody that was a thinker when hip hop was born the thing that they looked at the most was the Quran. That's always been the clearest thing. So Islam has always had an association with hip hop because it's where the true knowledge was.
Okay.
So what happened was the thinkers, the smart thinkers, they took some of the teachings of Islam and they put it in rhyme form and things of this nature, and they put it on track. And some people were able to relate. It was like, yo, this makes sense, you know?
Right.
And then you also had people that did it just because they thought it was cool or...
right.
Yeah, you know, you got people that mention it. It's like the album that Jay Electronica and Jay-Z put out 2 weeks ago. Jay-Z saying he Muslim on the album. We know that his lifestyle is not, you know, of that. But
well, that's deep. We're gonna talk about that. We're gonna deep.
Yeah, he's like, talk about that. He's like, right.
I'm hip. I got it. The references. I'm with you on that. I'm familiar.
So, you know, people do it because they think it's cool. But deep down, when they compare Islam to any other thing, they know it's the cleanest thing. They know that. They're not going to talk about Easter in Iran.
This is my biggest thing. Like, okay, boom. So they're talking about Islam on the list. Like you said, you just referenced an album that came out 2 weeks ago. I'm glad you mentioned that because we're not just talking about 80s. This is still present. Where at least in the urban arena, we see people still referring to Islam. Now, here's the thing. That's what I mean when I say cloaking falsehood, cloaking truth with falsehood. Yeah. Like that's another level of treachery. Like that's another level of dalala. When you take a person, and this happened a lot, you take a person who's known for this glamorous lifestyle, and he utters a couple of Islamic words. Now the Muslims are like, yay, right. And they're cheering for this person. Like, okay, see, well, he's on it. So, and that becomes like almost like a leader or role model, simply because again he's making these references. But
you know, I want to say this because this thing is deep right here now. But you know, some people, he's gonna get the sin for that. He's gonna get the sin. He's gonna get the sin for playing with Allah's religion. But let me tell you this.
Okay.
Some people will hear that and become Muslim and become good Muslim.
Okay.
Do you understand? Like it's universal now. It's universal.
Right.
It's a universal thing. It's like when I say that people were listening to Public Enemy and Wu-Tang. You know, Wu-Tang wasn't really talking about positive stuff.
Correct.
But the brother said he heard them say Allah. He said he went to the internet to look up what was Allah. He Googled Allah.
Right.
And they say this is the God that the Muslims worship, the one and true God.
Right.
So he said, man, I want to learn more about this. He Googled where's the closest place he can learn. He found that a mosque was on his street.
Wow.
He went to the mosque. He went there a couple times, and then he took Shahada.
Wow.
And now the brother is almost Hafiz. This is a white brother from London. You know, it's mine. So I'm saying just hearing the word Allah from that negative album, he became a positive Muslim. So it's deep, man.
It is deep. But one thing what I want to say to the younger ones is because that's the anomaly. His story is an anomaly. Like, you know what I mean? It doesn't happen like that. Most times it's the young Muslims, that are already attached to Islam, not having enough faith and respect and honor for the example of Prophet Muhammad, or like what Imam said, just give me the 10 names. I said this early on. Just give me the 10 names of the 10 whose Prophet said are going to Jannah in one city. Or let's not even look at it like that. Let's give me 10 names, period. Let's give us 10 names people who we know to go into paradise, even if they just be prophets, So I think because that's missing. It's a clear void there that ends up going towards, again, the music. Okay, clear this, Charlotte, man. So look, we know a lot about, like I said, the positive lyrics, man, and, in the rap game, and Allah's name being mentioned, man. Shoot us a couple of bars, man, real quick, man. That kind of reference, not from you. We'll get to that later, Charlotte, but that actually used Islam to some extent. And I got another response for you from a University of Buffalo professor and research librarian about why this connection between African Americans. I heard your response, African Americans and Islam, because it doesn't only extend to the music. That's also what you used to, not so much now, but you used to have, babies like Aisha, Kareem, Jamal. You get that in the, Khalil. You got that in the African American community. So there's a big affinity there. I'll get into that one. But real quick, what are some of those references that you know of where Allah's being mentioned or Islam is being mentioned?
Yeah, I remember.
I'll share whatever comes to mind too, without Googling.
Yeah. I remember on Nas track, he said something like, in the projects, I learned of Muhammad in linen garments, teaching man, woman, and child to live a prophet. No one similar. Bismillah. Something like that. It was like crazy.
Right.
And I was like, okay. It sounded, it didn't sound too blasphemous. You know what I'm saying? It was like, okay.
Right.
That's clean. He ain't had no Nation of Islam stuff on it or nothing like that.
Right. Which is another level. Another level, right? Another level. Hold on 1 minute. Out here in the elements, man, for your viewing pleasure, you guys, mashallah, at home, alhamdulillah. But I'm catching it. This cold, man, inshallah. So, alhamdulillah, but listen, you also had another famous one was the usage of the word of the phrase assalamu alaikum. That was another famous one, and you made a point, right? There was one group who even in their one breakout record, they said assalamu alaikum, or peace sign, represent my way of life, which be that of Islam. You're not familiar yet? Is that not ringing a bell?
But keep going.
Keep on. The guy said, assalamu alaikum, or peace sign, represent my way of life, which be that of Islam. And that's all I remember. But all of that was all Islam, right? And he had another part, which this will probably jar your memory. Knowledge be acapella, wisdom G. I'm manifesting, understanding, understood. So there's no need to keep. No, wow, you don't. There we go. Ding, 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 ding. Somebody throw some hearts up, man, for the brother, man. He knows his stuff, mashallah. Throw some hearts up, man, for the brother, man. He knows his stuff, man. Put my hearts icons over here, man, mashallah. Alhamdulillah, yeah. But here's the thing, though, right? So you got these individuals that use Islam, like we said, in the music industry, but then we'll enter. There we go. I already know where that's coming from. Thank you, Rochester. You got these individuals using it in the industry, but they often are given the wrong version. They're given the wrong version. So for example, those individual poor righteous teachers, they were what they call 5%ers.
Yeah.
They were 5%, right? Knowledge be acapella, wisdom G, the woo as well, referencing, you know what I mean? 5% references, all right? And the J electronica as well, and even J with the 7 necklace, and you know what I mean. That I think is what more so they're referring to than the Arab version of Islam. Yeah. But here's the thing. I remember again talking to a research librarian about this. Why is it again that you think that we see more appreciation for Islam or appreciation for Islam in the African American community? Again, the references, the names that use. Why do you think that is? And he told me that he believes that because they feel like something was missing that belonged to them, and they somehow feel like this was it. I mean, you've been to Africa before. I mean, how respected is Islam in Africa? Is it
Wow.
Or is it not?
It's amazing, man. It's amazing. I mean, it's beautiful. I mean, it has its norms, and it has its extremes like anywhere else. But I tell you this, man, I remember something so beautiful at night around like midnight.
Okay.
This is when I was in Dakar.
Okay, Senegal.
Yeah, I was in Dakar. And
Okay.
the people would be on their rooftops saying La ilaha illallah from like 11 o'clock to 3 in the morning. And you can hear all over the city.
Was this Ramadan on the outside of
La ilaha illallah, la ilaha illallah. It's like
that's a beat right there. That's almost like a beat right there.
Man. Oh man, you talking about beautiful, Shaheed? You talking about beautiful? Can you imagine that every night after Isha?
Was that during
hours and hours?
Was that during Ramadan or no?
No, it was just regular time.
See what I'm saying? See, I think
those things are just beautiful, man. Can you imagine that? At night, the people in the nightclub, and then you got people that's there that you can hear the dhikr off the roof from where you're staying. Everybody's doing it.
That's deep. See, they will not give that image of over here, man, of Africa. They will not give that image of Islam over here, man.
Because when I got there, I expected the first time I went, I expected to see people with spears and bones and war paint. That's all they taught us here. You know what I'm saying? So when I got there, people were like pushing Mercedes. They was like. They had big flat screen TVs in their houses. I was like, wow, you know. Of course, you have people who are poor there also.
Sure.
You know, but for the most part, man, it was education. I met some people that speak 7, 8 languages. And that was like many people, not like over here we meet one person. That's amazing.
Right.
Can you imagine being in a place where that's the norm?
Right. We got some people online with us right now that speak a few languages, huh?
I said, can you imagine it's the norm for people to speak 4 or 5 languages, and you sitting with them? You see,
right.
You then learn the inferiority of your learning education.
Right.
You go in thinking you have a superior education. You come back humble.
You come back humble.
You come back humble, man. You come back humble.
Right. SubhanAllah. All right. So, man, so many things to get into. So we talked about, the appreciation, man, for sweet sounds. But there's a difference in, again, what the actual music industry wants to promote to the people, and in a positive messaging. Yeah.
These so-called people in power over the music and entertainment industry. When rock and roll was big, that's all they pushed. And you can see that Satanism, devilism stuff in that. Because it was the biggest thing at the time. So they want to control whatever has the most influence. You get that?
Okay.
The goal is to send as many people astray as possible. That's it. You know what I'm saying? So right now, hip hop is the #1 music on the earth. You can look that up anywhere.
Yeah.
On earth,
who's gonna argue?
Music on the earth. So because hip hop has become big, it's black. You see now the Satanism has moved into that. That evil stuff has moved inside of that now.
You know what's deep? Hold on a minute. Pardon me. Sorry about that. You know what? Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, I got you. Let me get the volume back up there. So cool. So which is deep because I was talking about that, a couple of weeks back, that's not how actually hip hop started. And you were just making a comment about how you had a preconceived notion of what you were going to find when you got to Africa. I think because it was happening, and we have to try to do something about this as Muslim African Americans or Muslims from America, whether you're African American or not. You got to understand the history of your country and know that, like you said, that this particular culture did not start out like this. Stop promoting this as a sewage trash dump fire of African American lifestyles. This is not how this culture started out. Like you said, it started out very positive. It had plenty of references to Islam and and what was better. But again, those who were in power took it and ran with it into a totally different direction. And a lot of our followers are Yemenis as well. And I have to say this, man, because they as well end up taking some of these elements and employing it. Like I've seen guys, when it's time to take pictures, for after winning a championship with our basketball league, they'll come take pictures, talking about. And you're like, come on, like, where you getting that from, man? How many kid men from over here, man? Mashallah, you talking about, you know what I'm saying? Like, so you're taking the worst elements, man, of a culture and allowing that, and some those of us who know better, we have to, I guess, help cleanse that, man, help cleanse it.
And that's part of that agenda to make us appear.
Huh?
The part of the agenda is to make us appear ignorant, unlearnable,
right.
Despicable, the lowest of the low. That's part of the whole agenda. Because going back to what you was talking about earlier, hip hop when it began, that whole culture, it was about educating and speaking about the suffering of people and how to upbuild people. You know what I'm saying? It was teaching inside of it. Now they're taking people who are not educated, people who don't have no kind of moral compass or none of that, and putting them out front and putting the learned people in the back. You get that? So the youth are coming up thinking like, okay, this stuff is cool. Like how you say, showing the gold teeth and talking about the most immoral, most explicit thing that you can think of. That's all part of that whole evil, dark agenda. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And again, that's what we want to warn the youth about. Real quick, how you coming? My volume's coming across nice and high, regular.
Yeah, it's a little. You got a little echo on it, but it's cool.
See if you can turn yours up for me too, man. I think when that phone call came in, it threw my volume off.
All right. Can you hear me?
So the message that we're trying to say, man, a lot of the things that we're trying to say right today. I know we're going down. We're going down another path that's a little bit more educated, rather than interacting with some of the guys. But I'm glad we're doing this because, again, not too many. It's a little bubbly. Okay, yeah. I hope it's at least loud. We're almost finished. I don't want to sign off and then sign back on again. But as long as you can tolerate it, guys, the voice, let's try to cope with it. So we're walking down a more educated path today and talking about this topic of Islam and music. And basically what we're trying to pull away from this is be careful of, again, if you don't see this video live and you see this video within the next 24 hours, be careful of the music industry feeding you subliminally, feeding you an image and feeding you information that goes against what the message of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam came with. That's the bottom line to it. Don't let we talked about this in the very beginning. Don't let that lure to the music, to the beat, to the production, right, end up pulling you into listening to something that totally contradicts what the Islam wants for you. Yeah. All right. So with regards to positivity, mashallah, again, you heard our brother Mustafa Dubaisa say that he's been writing for a while now. You know what I mean? Since he was a youngster, which means that he has bars stored up. You know what I mean? Fort Knox upstairs, I'm sure. Fort Knox upstairs. So we just want a little bit of gold. We don't want all of it. We want him to give us a little bit of gold. You know what I mean? See what he got for us.
So hard to keep going. Like water out the faucet, IKEA keep flowing. I know little, trying to get a lot of knowledge. Thanks to Islam, it's like a fresh out of college. Gotta send them salawats on Muhammad, the seal of all prophets, peace be upon him. Islam's the way, even though the world's martyr trying to block me from the garden. Please, I beg your pardon. The world's youth smoke tobacco by the carton. In and out of jail, man, they brought up on them charges. Muslim youth, we keep around the scholars. The spread in the West, we gotta unify dollars. The world's leaders, I can never follow, just Allah and his apostle. This my hip-hop gospel. I love a deep bow, Ali and Abu Bakr, Usman and Umar. That's what you call a martyr. Nowadays, people kill you for a quarter. Send a kite to Palestine, man, we gotta stop the slaughter. I get upset, I want to cross the border, but my brother named Shahid is like, I don't think you oughta. You need to wait till Allah gives the order. This is Akhirul Zaman and the last day upon us. When we die, we pray our children mourn us, send prayers every night, until the day they join us. when we die, we pray our children's mourn us, send prayers every night, until the day they mourn us.
Mashallah, mashallah. I can't wait to